the glory of the internet and just the glory of being an entrepreneur, honestly, is just I don't have anything stopping me from any of it. It's just, I mean, whatever I think is a good idea, we can just go with.
So there we go. We're good. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and what you got going on?
So my name is Benjamin Kershaw. I am the creator, producer, host of the Pack Games, which is a kind of a head-to-head OCR competition. So I call it a game show. We travel to obstacle courses around the nation and just host a bracket style head-to-head competition. Winner gets cash prize, moves on to the championship round in Columbus. So it's something that we just started about a year ago, and it's had a couple transformations, but that's where we're at now.
I'm completely obsessed with it. So I found
Appreciate
you
it.
through Vinny Dangerfield,
That's my guy.
who
He has
is
the greatest name of all time.
I know I told him he needs to have an action figure. Like day
Ex-
one, I'm like, dude, make an action figure. I need a Dangerfield dog.
exactly.
Um, now, so what made you come up with this? Because like I said, as soon as I found out about it, I've been obsessed with it. I've been telling everybody about it. Been watching all the episodes over and over and over because like this is like my childhood dream.
Exactly.
Like if this was around in high school, what's football?
Exactly. And I agree. That's kind of how it started because so to say it started as more of a physical competition that was like I would call it combative. It was things like tug of war and everything was just up close and personal. And I had a friend, Jason Goggins, who was on, if you've ever heard of it, the Broken Skull Challenge, the
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold show. He was on that, and that gave me the idea, like, hey, what if we did something like that, but we did it at your obstacle course? And he thought it was a great idea, so we hosted it over there, and we just said, hey, well, instead of making everything so up close and personal, no, people got to work the next day, so we don't want anybody getting hurt, and
Right.
so we were just like, look, we'll do it kind of a speed thing, but we keep the same bracket head to head format. So it brings a level of intensity that I think the OCR community doesn't have because it's everything's timed and everything is kind of almost too friendly. And I believe in friendly competition, but I also believe in just competition. And so it really started out as being something that was gonna be more for football players, like bigger guys. And then after hosting it at the Black Diamond Obstacle Course and just seeing how everybody reacted to it and how much fun people had, but more importantly, the fact that the people showed up. Like the crazy thing about the obstacle course community is they live for stuff like this, and so it's nice to give them another outlet to compete. They show up 2 hours early to things, so it was great. Like just getting them out there and watching how much they enjoyed it. That's it's something that I would enjoy. So it's anytime you can find something that you know you would enjoy competing in yourself, it just makes it so much better.
Yeah, and so I don't get like overly excited. I'm not a big hype person, but when I saw your stuff, I was excited. And then I saw an advertisement for the Rock's Titan games, and I jumped up to the couch and started yelling at the TV. And my wife's like, "What?" I'm like, "He's on the right page. He's on the right page." And she's like, "Who?" I was like, "Ben Kershaw. He knows what he's doing." Because like, if the Rock's pretty much using the same concept, like you know
I'm
you're
not gonna
doing
say
something
anybody
right.
stole my idea, but somebody's been creeping on my Facebook.
Yeah, but hey, every show's got a competition, right?
No, well, and that's the thing. I've had a couple people that hit me up like, "Hey, man, like, have you seen the Titan games? It looks just like what you're doing, but yours came first. Like, are you gonna sue?" And I'm just like, I was like, no. It actually helps me because it's one of those things because not everybody's gonna be able to make it on that show. So it's like
Right.
this is something. Look, that's if you're willing to go out to LA and you got to be in the greatest shape and you got to be TV ready and all that stuff. And we're similar, but hey, we're traveling. We have tour dates. We'll be in Missouri, like in March. So far, we'll be in Missouri. We'll be in St. Louis. We'll be in Indianapolis. We'll be in Erie, Pennsylvania. We'll be in Michigan, Jackson, Ohio. So we have a bunch of dates, and we're coming to you. These are
Yep.
facilities that you might actually be used to, but if not, it's something that you can go and actually practice at. And then, like I said, we're doing it. It's a cash prize, so there. People have skin in the game. Um, it might not be 100,000 or whatever they're they're doing it over
Yeah.
Titan Games, but The Rock got a little more money than I got. So
Yeah. Nah, and I think it's exciting too because like I don't really see it from like the oh well you're competing against them perspective. I kind of see it more of like the bodybuilding perspective. Like
exactly,
there's the world championship, which is Olympia,
yeah,
and then you have the Arnold, which is like the next tier,
yep,
and then you have all the shows that you have to get to qualify to be part of the Arnold. So it's kind of like an opportunity to build your street cred as a competitive obstacle course racer to get to the Titan Games.
exactly. Like I said, this is just another outlet for people to come out compete, and then we also, I mean, you'll get the exposure. I mean, you get film, and that's a thing about football. People, I still play, or up until recently, still played semi-professional football, and the biggest thing was like I need film to make it to move up the ranks, and so that's
Mm-hmm.
the same way I'm going. Is hey, at the very least, you'll be able to show your personality on camera. I mean, you'll get your time to shine, and that's really what it's about for me is just giving people another outlet to shine, another outlet to compete, and then I mean, if they can go from the Pat games to the Titan games to American Ninja Warrior, and it moves up from there. I'm happy with it.
So how big do you think you see this getting like next year, and then kind of like what's the next 5 year progression for you? Or are you just kind of taking it one match at a time?
So I mean, it's moved a lot quicker after we picked up the new format with the obstacle course. Like I said, it was one of those things where in my head I wanted to travel around and host it on at football stadiums, but that was when it was like I said, football players going head to head, and it was more of an American Gladiators type of thing. But
Mm-hmm.
now that I think we're moving strictly to the obstacle course world, I mean, it's just picked up tremendously. So we recently, I can't say who yet, still in negotiations, but we're going to get picked up by um, a media network that will start hosting the show on. So it won't just be on Facebook, it won't just be on YouTube. So there's more exposure there. And then, I mean, we're setting up 3 more dates. So we're gonna do like a whole Midwest tour, and then we're gonna do a whole West Coast tour, and that's, I mean, I see the sky's the limit as far as we can go because it's as long as people are willing to compete, which they are. I mean, if you look at something like Tough Mudder, I mean, they have 60 dates in a year, so it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, this is, and I want this to be more exclusive. I don't want it to be where anybody's just allowed to compete. I do want to go through an
Mm-hmm.
application process, but for now, hey, if you want to come on out.
Right. Now, have you? Trying to think where to go. I have so many questions. So many questions.
I'm here for all of them.
So, have you looked into? And this is just for my own curiosity's sake. Having age brackets to where you have like a juniors competition and then
So,
also a seniors
and
class
that and
or
that's the thing.
masters.
It's so early for me. I feel that there's so many different combinations. We want to do teams. We want to do age brackets. We want to do
Mm-hmm.
some, maybe it'd be weight brackets to where it's something like it's less speed and more strength. We have
Mm-hmm.
some that are more speed and less strength. So there's so many different ways. And the great thing about traveling to permanent obstacle courses and not just doing something that's set up, it's not the same thing every time. So what you'll
Right.
see Monday of this week in St. Louis, you're not going to see Monday of next week in Indianapolis. The different
Yeah.
obstacles, different competitors, different ages. I mean, I had a guy who he owns one of the obstacle courses, but he reached out to me to compete, and he's I think 55 years old, but
Hmm.
he's the number one in the world in his age bracket. And people are telling me like, look, don't let the age fool you. He can come out and compete with the 25-year-olds. And so
Right.
there is definitely, to be honest, just a bit of a learning curve for what to do age and weight wise when it comes to obstacle course racing, because it's one of those things where somebody like me, I'm 6'2", 220. I don't necessarily want to go run a 5K. Like I'm not. I'm more of, hey, just give me the obstacles. I can climb monkey bars all day,
Yeah.
but the second you tell me I gotta climb, I have to climb the obstacle and then run a half a mile before the next one. That's less of what I enjoy. So it's
Right.
there's so many different combinations, so many different ways we can play this out to just keep everything fresh. Um, we also, I mean, we want to hit the point where we're doing tutorials for people just to help people learn how to do obstacles, um, build their own obstacles. There's really no limit to how far we can go with this.
Yeah, and like as soon as I watched like the whole full season, I was like, man, I have a buddy who has a parkour gym. I'd really like to take his like parkour gym and then put it against an OCR gym
Yeah.
and see who wins the obstacle course
Oh
races.
yeah, and
Because that'd just be
want to
fun.
go because it's. I mean, we want to do. I mean, we could do college. We can do Ohio State versus Michigan. I mean, like,
I know.
we're-
Like that's when Vinny first showed me. I'm like, dude, like you have a collegiate background with being in the fraternity. This is really cool. Like you can just go around and do frat house
well,
battles
and
and
we've
pop
actually
up in
we've
different college
discussed that.
towns.
We've discussed it because
Yeah,
there's I mean, I'll keep saying it. There's just no limit to the different.
there really isn't.
Yeah, it's. I mean, so many and that's the thing. I'm not. That's the glory of the internet and just the glory of being an entrepreneur. Honestly, is just I don't have anything stopping me from any of it. It's just, I mean, whatever I think is a good idea, we can just go with. So it's like I
Right.
said, with the frats, with colleges, with high schools, with, I mean, we can do football team versus basketball. We can do just and we, I mean, there's so many plans not to give everything away. I try not to say too much,
I got you. You don't have to. I get it.
but it.
So, when you were starting, like, what was the transition from creating something from scratch that was your own from what you were doing before that?
So
Like, what'd that look like?
it's crazy because it's. I mean, I'm sure most people are familiar nowadays with like Facebook memories, and to see what picture I posted almost like to this day a year ago, and to see what picture I would post today is crazy because it's. I mean, we were on Ohio State's football field under the lights, but we had people going back and forth bleeding, and people are rolling ankles, and
Oh,
it was,
jeez.
yeah, it was crazy. But that's honestly that's what I enjoy. I mean, I play football. I'm about,
Oh yeah,
so I have five brothers. So
King of the Ring and
exactly, having
yeah.
five brothers, I'm kind of one of the smallest. Like I'm in the middle, and so it's everything was wrestling, and that's, I do believe in the whole pack mentality, to where it's, we're all a family, we love each other, but if I want the last piece of bacon, we're gonna fight over it. So that's, to go from that feel to bring that, to transition that into the obstacle course racing world where everybody is friendly, everybody's nice to each other, everybody is family, but say, hey, we can be family right after this, but for this next 3 minutes, I need you to win. Like I need you to go as hard as you can to, I mean, there has to be somebody that leads the pack, and I believe
Mm-hmm.
wholeheartedly. So the transition from it being more physical, where people are a little more intense and people are walking around and trying to get hyped up, and then going to obstacle courses where everybody's smiling and happy. It's a culture shock for me because I'm like, man, he just beat you and you're still in a good mood. And the guy's just like, yeah, man, like I mean, somebody had to lose, and I'm just like, that's awesome.
And that's one thing I noticed about like the OCR community, American Ninja Warrior, which I kind of put into the same category,
Oh
just a
yeah.
slightly different way of expression. Is it's one of the few sports I witnessed that everybody actually has everyone's back.
Of course.
Like when I played football, like you like the guy on the other team, but you secretly wish he would trip.
Oh yeah. I mean, you wanted
So
to be.
like,
Let's be honest. You wanted to hurt him.
yeah, like to our OCR, it's like it doesn't matter if you were first place or last place. Like everybody traditionally is there for everybody else, and that's really cool.
Exactly, and we want to honor that to a certain extent because I think the season you may have seen, we had 8 people, so
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of I was kind of pairing them, like basically looking at them and saying, hey, all right, this guy's going against this guy's going against this guy, and I really had no knowledge of their background. I had no knowledge of their ability, and
Mm-hmm.
honestly, the guy that won, I would have put in a lower tier. Like I never would have thought he would have won.
Well, the way the finals was, they didn't go head to head. They
Well,
took
and that
turns,
was an
and then
that's
he got to
something
see what Vinny's mistakes were. I'm like, oh, this isn't going
exactly
to end well. He should have been blindfolded.
exactly. I should have made him stand behind it. I definitely
It's all good.
learning curve. Um,
Sorry, I'm sure Vinny will come back next year with a
oh,
vengeance.
definitely. Like we already discussed that. Um, but to see something like that, but even that he lost and he was still like, ah, it's all good, man. It's
Yeah,
like it's
yeah, absolutely.
here. We all had fun, but like I said, to really help out, like we're going to start seeding people to where it's like, hey, you're coming and competing, but you're going to compete no matter what because I don't think it should be like lose or go home. So at least we're going to have it so people will run the obstacle course race. So we're going to set it
Mm-hmm.
up so you have to run a 3K and there's no first or last. It's just kind of if you come in first, you are the first seed. If you come in last, you're the 32nd seed, and we'll pair them up like that. So there's so many ways we can do this, man.
Yeah, I really look forward to seeing how it grows, and then hopefully find some way for me to be a part of it
Uh,
at some capacity because I love the idea. Like I said, I wish this was around when I was younger.
oh yeah, yeah.
Doesn't mean I ain't gonna try to get on the field to compete.
Well, I just
So
took my love of Fear Factor and American Gladiators and and all those Nickelodeon like slime shows, and it's just
yep.
and that's what we want to add to it. We don't want it to just be grab a flag and get it back to your side. We want to add puzzle pieces in. We want to do things that it. I mean, you might be the first over the obstacle, but can you do a 10-piece puzzle? Can
Mm-hmm.
you do a math problem? Can you unlock a lock? Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it'll take some mental capacity too.
So what's the biggest hurdle you're trying to overcome right now to kind of take things to the next level? If you could solve one problem, or have somebody come onto the team that could solve one thing for you, what is it?
Patience, and that it might sound a little cliche, but it's like I said, people are interested, people are buying tickets, people are they want to come and compete. Um, but I mean, living in Columbus, Ohio, there's a season for it, and right now it's too cold to just be honest.
It could be its own version of
Which
competition.
and that's true, but I would say getting people out during the holidays is a little harder, and honestly,
Yeah.
just the whole scale of it, it's as big as it's gotten. We started working with a marketing company, and they're like, we can sell tickets in an hour, and I'm like, yeah, I don't believe that. Like that's crazy, and they sold tickets in an hour. So just getting everything, making sure people enjoy themselves. I mean, it is
Mm-hmm.
one of those things where I mean, we want to be exclusive. We want to be top tier. So we don't want to just we want to put on a good production. I mean, everything's for
Yeah.
camera. So we just patience, man. Just running through everything and making sure we've crossed our T's, dotted our I's, and making sure we have a good production.
Well, I really love what you're doing. Keep it up. Like I said, I'm sure we'll talk offline and try to find some creative ways to do some stuff. Where can everybody find you?
Just go to the Pack Games at everything. The official Pack leader on Instagram, but also the Pack Games on Instagram. The Pack Games on Snapchat, the Pack Games on Facebook. Just Google or like the packgames.com. It's everything's just the Pack Games. We actually just updated our website, so everybody should take a look at it. It's kind of sweet, honestly.
All right, now I'll check it out. I haven't actually been to the webpage yet. I've been following everything on Facebook and I think Instagram too. So
Okay.
I'll definitely check out the webpage.
Okay.
So yeah, and I'll make sure next week when I publish the audio to the podcast that all the links are in the bio, and then when I cut this interview out individually from the live stream, I'll make sure all the links are in the description too, so that way it's more easy for everyone to find.
I appreciate it, man.
So thank you for taking the time to be on this year's marathon, man.
No, Michael, I appreciate you having me.